Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome. My name is Amanda. Thank you so much for joining me. For today's video, I am going to be potting up my cute variegated Chunghungensis Hoya. And I did have some people ask me in my last video how I set up my DIY pots. So I was going to build one with you so you could see how to make them if you would like to do it in your own collection. So for supplies, you are going to need a handful of things. The first one are some type of cup. I'll put the exact link for these so you guys can see the size and dimensions, but these are just like a holographic party cup that I thought were really fun that I picked out. The next piece of the cup is actually a milkshake container. So I really like these because I can set like a alocasia or something up in semi-hydro and give it its own little humidity dome where I don't have to worry about like, I don't know, it getting affected by anything. If I have a plant that has pests, heaven forbid you get them, but if you do, you can also quarantine them with this setup and just put some tape over like the straw section. So I really like these. They're pretty versatile. I also like these for my Hoya specifically because they are a shorter like stout pot. Let me show one without the lid. So this is like what the size of the inside looks like. It's about 3 inches, but they are very shallow. And where Hoyas do have a shallow root system, they're not necessarily looking for a lot of depth to be able to root. They're looking for a lot of width. So having this be like short and stout does give a Hoya a really good like similar environment to them, especially putting them in semi-hydro. The next thing that you are going to need is some string. I would recommend getting cotton. I will link this for you below. This is like a specific semi-hydro one. I do find that this gets algae, but it does not rot. I haven't had any issues with that. It just doesn't always look the cutest. I cut them into little sections. They're about 11 inches long. So it's just something that I can put into the bottom of the base, but also pull up through the pond, able to distribute and wick up all of that moisture to the plant. But you can find what size works best for you. I just wanted to let you know how I do it in case you were trying to replicate this for your plants. The last thing that you will need is a soldering iron. I actually found this on like Amazon Prime deals for $6.99, and it came with like a little stand, a cap to cover it, some additional attachments for like shapes that I would want to solder, and some actual like solder if I was looking to do anything then make cups with it. So I thought it was a pretty good deal. It's worked really well, and you can set the temperature on it. The only thing is it does not have an on and off button. So I'll link this one for you guys down below if you want to purchase that one. But yeah, just you can't shut it off or on. You have to unplug it, which is the only downside. So now that we know what we need, I did buy this super cute heart trellis for my Chunghungensis. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this out. That is seriously so cute. Okay, now to do the pots, I'm gonna tilt you guys down so you can see what I'm doing, but it is fairly easy peasy once you have all of the supplies. So on the bottom of these milkshake containers, there is like a recycle and then like another little symbol. And I actually like to use those for my spacing. So what you're going to do is just take your soldering iron, and I just like to make a hole right where that emblem is, symbol. And I just wait until I can push it down, and then I start to make little circles and get a little wider to make them the correct width for the cotton. And then there is that one. And then I'm just going to do the same thing on the other side. And you will get some melted plastic. I just like to tuck it up on the bottom, like I got a gloop on this side. I'd rather have it on the bottom than on the inside with my plant. So if this is ugly, I don't really care about that very much. But so this one will be all done essentially. So now I'm just gonna add my pon and pot up my plant, and then we'll see how cute it looks when it's all done. Whoa, that's smoky. I set mine to 350 also. Okay, so after you burn the holes in the bottom, you just want to give it a second to cool down. because they will still be a little hot and like pliable, and you just want to make sure that the holes remain holes. I did get a little excited the first couple times that I did it, and I definitely went too fast, and there was like melted plastic on the string. So then you just thread each of these through. You can add an additional step if you would like to, and like take a lighter and just like light these up a little bit, like scorch them so that they don't stay frayed. But honestly, I change these out after I move a plant out of the setup. So to me, it's really not a big deal. You also can't see them through these holographic cups, so it's not that big of a deal to me, but just something to keep in mind if you're going for a clear cup. The next thing that I do is I take my holographic cup and my DIY inner cash pot that I'm going to use, and I just do kind of like a test fitting. You want the string to be able to completely touch the bottom, and then you want enough of that cotton to be able to come through the top so that the cotton can wick up consistent moisture to the entire root system for your plant. So this is about where I want to have it. So I'm gonna grab some of my pon and just put it in to hold the string in place. So now I have enough pon in here that the string should not really move, and I am going to set in my cute little trellis that I got. So it will be something like that. Then I'll just make sure that this is centered in the pot, and I'm gonna add a little bit more pon to help hold the trellis in place. So just putting pon mainly around like the outside edges. And now I'm ready to take my plant out. I didn't bring over a little tray for this, so I'm just gonna plop this right on the table. I've gotten off a good majority of like all of the organic matter, but where this mix had a lot of sphagnum moss in it, I definitely don't want to transfer that over into the pon because that could rot my plant. So I'll be right back. And so there is that root system all clean. And when I put a Hoya in, especially when I'm doing a trellis, I like to lay the plant inside the pot with the way that the plant is already growing. So that's how I determine like which side I'm going to put the plant on, is based on the way the root system will lay with the trellis. I also have a little clip here, and I find it really helpful to put the plant in and clip it to the pole, especially when you're working with like these small leaf Hoyas. It just helps ensure that you get all of the roots down here and you're not pulling on the Hoya going back and forth, especially disturbing that small root system. And then where I have the majority of the string, I want this to still distribute the moisture inside the pot, but I don't want it to stick out the top. So I'm actually just gonna like spread it out where it's next to the root system and then cover it up. Because I don't need the top of the pon to be moist, I just need to make sure that around everywhere else it's getting moisture. And then I do have these like orchid leca balls. I can link these down for you guys below as well. Like they're a fun top dressing to complement like the holographic cup. So I'm just not staring at like gray, red, and black rocks all day. It's fun for me to have the little extra pop of color. Then once it looks like I've gotten all the gaps filled up, I'm just gonna go ahead and pop this into one of my cups. And then I'm good to go. Okay, so now that this is all potted up, I'm just gonna fill up the holographic cup with some water. And there is like a natural line in here at the very bottom. I don't know how well you're gonna see it, but it's like a fourth of the way up. That is where I fill the water up until. So it's about that high in the cup. And then I'm just gonna pop this little guy in here. And now my Chungkunjensis is in her new home, ready to go live in my cabinet. But there you go. There is one final look at my DIY self-watering planters. I really love these for my Hoyas and in my Hoya cabinet. I think it just adds a little bit of like, I don't know, personality to my space. So I hope that you guys found this enjoyable. If you have any questions on these pots or I don't know, anything else about my Hoyas that you would like to know, please let me know down below. I would love to engage with you guys. And if you do decide to make your own DIY planter, I would love to see it. I think there's actually a functionality that if you're a subscriber, you can add a photo in the community tab and it will be something that like everybody who subscribes to my channel can see. I don't know, I'll have to do a little bit more research on that. So if there's like certain steps, I'll link that down in the description too. So if you wanted to share your DIY pots, I think that that would be really fun. But thank you guys so much for your time. I hope you have a wonderful evening and I will see you all on the next video. Bye.
Damn.